The moment the film Avatar first appeared on the big screen, millions of people around the world felt something unusual. It wasn't just another science fiction movie filled with aliens and distant planets. It was something far more immersive. The glowing forests, the floating mountains, the strange yet beautiful creatures, it all felt so vivid that for a moment, many viewers wondered whether such a place could actually exist somewhere in the vast universe. The world that captured everyone's imagination was called Pandora. In the film, Pandora wasn't just a planet, it was a moon orbiting a massive gas giant known as Polyphemus. The landscape was breathtaking, vast jungles glowing with blue light during the night, mountains floating effortlessly in the sky, and strange creatures roaming the forests. Among them lived the Na'vi, a tall, blue-skinned species nearly 10 feet in height, deeply connected to the environment around them. One of the most fascinating ideas in the movie was how the Na'vi connected with nature. Using a neural link through their tails, they could bond with animals, plants, and even the massive tree that acted as the heart of their ecosystem. It was almost like plugging a device into a universal network, nature itself functioning as a living internet. For many viewers, the experience sparked an inevitable question. Could something like Pandora actually exist somewhere in our universe? Could there be distant worlds where alien life thrives, hidden far beyond the reach of human technology? To begin answering that question, we first need to understand where Pandora was supposedly located in the fictional universe of the film. In Avatar, Pandora orbits a gas giant in the Alpha Centauri star system. Interestingly, Alpha Centauri is not fictional at all. It is a real star system, and in fact, it is the closest star system to our own solar system. Alpha Centauri lies about 4.37 light-years away from Earth. At first glance, that distance might not sound particularly intimidating, but once you understand what a light-year actually represents, the scale becomes almost unimaginable. Light travels at about 300,000 kilometers per second. At that speed, a beam of light could circle the entire Earth more than 7 times in just 1 second. Over the course of a year, that light would travel roughly 9.5 trillion kilometers. That means Alpha Centauri is more than 40 trillion kilometers away from Earth. To put that into perspective, if humanity launched its fastest spacecraft toward Alpha Centauri today, it would take tens of thousands of years to arrive. Even with our most advanced technology, the journey remains far beyond practical reach. Yet in cosmic terms, Alpha Centauri is practically our neighbor. The universe itself is so vast that even distances measured in light years barely scratch the surface of its scale. But here's where things begin to get interesting. In 2016, scientists made a remarkable discovery inside the Alpha Centauri system. They detected a planet orbiting one of its stars, Proxima Centauri b. What immediately captured the attention of astronomers was its size and location. Proxima Centauri b is roughly the same size as Earth. Even more intriguing, it sits within what scientists call the habitable zone of its star. The habitable zone is sometimes referred to as the Goldilocks zone. It is the region around a star where temperatures are not too hot and not too cold, conditions that could allow liquid water to exist on the planet's surface. And wherever liquid water exists, the possibility of life begins to emerge. Imagine standing near a heater on a cold night. If you sit too close, the heat becomes unbearable. Move too far away, and you feel the chill again. But somewhere in between lies the perfect distance where the temperature feels just right. Stars work in a similar way. Planets orbiting too close to their stars become scorching infernos, their oceans boiling away into space. Planets orbiting too far away become frozen wastelands where water exists only as ice. But in that narrow middle zone, conditions might allow life to develop. Proxima Centauri b exists in exactly that region. Of course, being in the habitable zone does not guarantee that life exists there. Scientists still know very little about the planet's atmosphere or surface conditions, but the discovery alone proves something extraordinary. Earth-like planets can exist beyond our solar system, and they might not be rare. Another discovery that fascinated astronomers came in 2015 with the identification of a planet known as Kepler 452b. This world is often described as Earth's older cousin. Located about 1,400 light-years away, Kepler 452b shares several similarities with our home planet. It orbits a star very similar to our own Sun and completes its orbit in about 385 days, remarkably close to Earth's 365-day year. If someone could stand on the surface of Kepler 452b and look up at the sky, they might see a star that looks very much like our own Sun shining above them. But there are differences too. Kepler 452b is about 60% larger than Earth. That difference in size likely means stronger gravity. A person who weighs 50 kilograms on Earth might feel closer to 100 kilograms there. Simply walking across the surface could feel exhausting under such conditions. Still, the planet lies within the habitable zone of its star, meaning temperatures might allow liquid water to exist. And again, where there is water, the possibility of life follows. Yet even Kepler 452b may not be the most exciting discovery. In 2017, astronomers revealed the discovery of the TRAPPIST-1 system, located about 40 light-years from Earth. What makes TRAPPIST-1 extraordinary is not just one planet, but seven Earth-sized planets orbiting a single star. Even more astonishing, 3 of those planets lie within the habitable zone. Because the planets orbit so closely together, the view from their surfaces would be unlike anything we experience on Earth. Standing on one of those worlds, you might look up and see neighboring planets hanging large in the sky, just as we see our moon, but far bigger. If life exists on any of these worlds, their civilizations might be able to see each other's planets clearly in their skies. But what would alien life actually look like? Movies often imagine aliens resembling humans, 2 arms, 2 legs, and familiar facial features. The Na'vi in Avatar follow this pattern, simply appearing taller and blue-skinned. In reality, scientists suspect alien life could be far stranger than anything Hollywood imagines. Life on Earth is carbon-based, meaning carbon atoms form the backbone of our biological structures. But in different environments, other elements, such as silicon, might play a similar role. Alien organisms could operate under completely different biological rules. Their shapes, sizes, and chemistry might be so unfamiliar that we might not even recognize them as living beings. Environmental conditions would shape them in dramatic ways. On planets with extremely high gravity, creatures might evolve to be short, dense, and incredibly strong to support their weight. On worlds with low gravity, life forms might grow tall and delicate, stretching upward with ease. Even plants could look completely different. If a planet orbits a red dwarf star, its sunlight might be dominated by red wavelengths. In such conditions, plants might evolve darker pigments, perhaps even black, to absorb energy more efficiently. Suddenly, the glowing blue forests of Pandora don't seem so impossible. In fact, Earth itself offers clues that something similar could exist. In the deep oceans of our planet, countless organisms produce their own light through a process called bioluminescence. Jellyfish, squid, and deep-sea fish illuminate the darkness with glowing colors. Even certain mushrooms in forests emit a faint green glow at night. If life evolved on a planet where darkness dominates the environment, bioluminescence could become far more common, creating landscapes that shimmer and glow just like the forests of Pandora. But what about Pandora's floating mountains? In the movie, these mountains hover in the sky due to a fictional mineral called unobtainium that interacts with the planet's magnetic field. While such a mineral has never been discovered, scientists have observed a phenomenon that might resemble it in principle: superconductors. When cooled to extremely low temperatures, certain materials can repel magnetic fields through a phenomenon known as the Meissner effect. This causes them to levitate above magnets. It's a real scientific effect, but maintaining such conditions naturally on a planetary scale would be extremely unlikely. Still, nature has surprised us many times before.
Perhaps the biggest obstacle to discovering alien worlds is not imagination, but distance. Even the nearest stars lie trillions of kilometers away. Traveling there with conventional spacecraft would take thousands or even tens of thousands of years. Yet, scientists are already exploring new ideas that might one day make such journeys possible. One proposal, known as Breakthrough Starshot, aims to send tiny spacecraft, no larger than postage stamps, toward nearby star systems. Instead of traditional engines, these miniature probes would be pushed by powerful lasers from Earth, accelerating them to nearly 20% of the speed of light. At that speed, they could reach Alpha Centauri in just 20 years. Another idea, even more exotic, involves wormholes, hypothetical shortcuts through space-time predicted by Einstein's theory of relativity. Imagine drawing two dots on a sheet of paper representing distant points in space. Normally, traveling between them requires crossing the entire surface of the paper. But if you fold the paper so the dots touch, the journey becomes instant. A wormhole would function in a similar way, bending space-time to connect distant regions of the universe. For now, wormholes remain purely theoretical, but the concept shows how radically our understanding of physics could reshape the future of exploration. Still, one profound mystery remains. If the universe contains billions of galaxies, each with billions of planets, then statistically, life should exist in many places. So where is everyone? This question is known as the Fermi paradox. In 1950, physicist Enrico Fermi asked a simple yet haunting question: where are they? If intelligent civilizations exist across the cosmos, why haven't we seen clear evidence of them? Some scientists believe advanced civilizations might deliberately avoid contact, observing us from afar, much like humans observe animals in the wild. Others suggest intelligent life may be extremely rare, making Earth a remarkable cosmic exception. Another possibility is that civilizations often destroy themselves before developing technologies capable of interstellar communication. Or perhaps the universe is simply too vast, and we have only begun to explore a tiny fraction of it. So far, humanity has discovered only a few thousand exoplanets, yet astronomers estimate that our Milky Way galaxy alone could contain over 100 billion planets. The search has barely begun. And perhaps the biggest lesson from studying distant worlds is not about aliens at all. It's about Earth. When scientists analyze the conditions that make life possible, they realize how incredibly rare and delicate our planet's balance truly is. Earth sits at the perfect distance from the Sun. Our wound stabilizes the planet's tilt and climate. Jupiter's massive gravity deflects many asteroids that might otherwise strike us. And our planet's magnetic field shields life from harmful solar radiation. Change just one of these factors, and life as we know it might never have existed. In that sense, Earth itself may be even more extraordinary than Pandora. So, does a world like Pandora exist somewhere in the universe? Probably not. Not in exactly the way the movie imagined. But planets capable of supporting life almost certainly do exist. And somewhere out there, under alien skies and strange stars, entirely different ecosystems may be thriving, waiting for the day humanity finally discovers them. Perhaps one day our descendants will stand on the surface of a distant world and look up at an unfamiliar sky. And in that moment, they will realize that the universe is far more alive than we ever imagined. But what do you think? Do you believe intelligent alien civilizations are out there somewhere in the vast cosmos, waiting to be discovered? Or do you think humanity might truly be alone in this enormous universe? Let me know your thoughts, and if you enjoyed this exploration of space and possibility, make